Have you ever stopped and thought, what's the point of all this? Why does reality feel strangely scripted, like events are lining up too perfectly or not making sense at all? Why do some people seem like they're just running on autopilot, as if they're not really there? And what about déjà vu? Why do we sometimes feel like we've lived the same moment before? Is there a God? Or are we just stuck in some kind of programmed simulation? If you've ever had these thoughts, don't worry, you're not alone. This entire community is dedicated to exploring these mysteries, breaking them down, and making sense of the chaos. I know that feeling, the frustration of trying to understand what the hell is actually going on. The truth is, no one can know everything. But we can know enough to make sense of things. And that's exactly what we're here to do. So if you're ready to start seeing reality for what it really is, let's dive in. Let's start at the beginning, before reality, before time, before anything existed. There was only one thing: consciousness, infinite, boundless awareness. Some call it God, Source, or the Creator. But not the version most religions describe. This isn't a being sitting on a throne judging and interfering with the universe. It's something far greater. God isn't all-knowing, because if He was, there'd be no purpose to existence, no discovery, no growth, no experience. Instead, God is an explorer, a creator, a force of pure curiosity that wanted to see what would happen if reality was set into motion. And that's exactly what He did. But here's where it gets interesting. God didn't just create a world to watch from a distance. He divided Himself into countless fragments, each one sent to experience reality from a different perspective. That's us. That's you. That's every conscious being playing this game of existence. And to make sure this experiment didn't spiral into chaos, He built a system, a self-regulating framework of universal laws to keep reality balanced, a structure that allows free will but ensures that everything, eventually, finds equilibrium. This system is quite complex, but we can break down a portion of it. The true mechanics of existence, beyond outdated ideas of dimensions and time. If the universe was created as an experiment, then that means there had to be a system, a framework to keep it running. And this system isn't random. It follows rules, patterns, and mechanics that we can actually observe. Now, forget everything you've been told about dimensions, the old dimensional system, and why it's flawed. For centuries, we've been taught that reality operates within a four-dimensional framework, 3 spatial dimensions: length, width, and height, plus time as the 4th dimension. It's a simple way to describe movement and position in space, and for a while it seemed like a solid model. But the problem? It doesn't actually explain how reality works. It just describes how we move through it. What we need is a model that explains how reality operates, not just where things exist. Let's go to the beginning. In the beginning, Source created 6 planes of existence, each one forming a different layer of reality. These are not just places or locations. They are fields of energy, each playing a role in how existence functions. And understanding these planes is the key to understanding everything: how events unfold, why emotions matter, how manifestation works, and even what happens after death. So let's break it down, starting from the 6th plane, the realm of pure consciousness, and working our way down to the 3rd plane, the physical world we experience every day. The 6 planes of existence. 6th plane, the consciousness field. The Creator exists in the seventh plane, but is divided into infinite fragments across the lower planes. In the sixth plane we find pure consciousness, not a singular entity, but an infinite number of fragmented consciousnesses, each carrying the essence of the Creator. This is the realm where souls return after completing their journey. There is no ego, no separation, only experience, reflection, and choice. Everything that has ever existed still exists here in some form. When you experience a deep sense of intuition or a moment of absolute clarity, it's your consciousness briefly tapping into this plane. Next, we have the fifth plane, the emotional field. This is where emotions, energy, and vibrations exist before they manifest in the physical world. You've felt this before. You walk into a room, and the energy feels heavy, even though nothing has physically happened yet. What you're sensing are the vibrational waves from the fifth plane, emitted by the emotions and intentions of others. Every emotion you experience is real energy, and depending on its frequency, it can shape what happens in your reality. Fourth plane, the probability field, quantum field. Now, this is where things get really interesting. The fourth plane, also known as the probability field or quantum field, is where all ideas and concepts reside. It is the space of all possible outcomes, the infinite branching timelines of what could happen next. Every possible version of your life exists here, waiting to be selected. The decisions you make, combined with the energy of the fifth plane, determine which version of reality gets rendered into the physical world. A lot of people assume that anything beyond the physical world is just hypothetical or abstract, something you can't really see or prove. But that's not true. The fourth and fifth planes aren't just theoretical ideas. They're observable and measurable in your own life if you know where to look. The 5D emotional field isn't some mystical concept. It's something we all experience every day. Ever get a bad vibe from someone you just met? That's because you are detecting their 5D resonance. Emotions and intentions carry energy, and that energy exists as vibrational waves that animals, psychics, and even ordinary people can sense. Think about how dogs sense fear, even when a person tries to hide it. Their reaction isn't based on body language alone. They are picking up on the vibrational state the person is emitting. This is why some animals instinctively trust certain people while avoiding others, even if no visible threat is present. Humans experience this too, but most ignore it. Ever felt an immediate sense of unease around someone even though they've done nothing wrong? Or met a stranger and felt an instant connection as if you've known them forever? These reactions aren't random. You are subconsciously reading the vibrational imprint they are radiating from the fifth plane. This is also why places hold energy. Walk into an old battlefield, an abandoned house, or a sacred temple, and you'll feel something. Sometimes heavy, sometimes peaceful. That's not your imagination. Emotional imprints left behind by people, events, and experiences continue to resonate in the 5D field long after they've occurred. Each emotion in the 5D emotional field acts as a tuning fork, aligning you with a specific range of possibilities in the 4D probability field. This means that every emotional state you experience doesn't just affect your mood. It determines which potential futures become accessible to you. Think of the 5D emotional field as a series of doors, each representing a different theme of experience. The emotion you hold acts as the key, determining which door you can open. Once you step through, the 4D probability field is the room inside. filled with countless possibilities and experiences that align with the theme of the door you chose. For example, if you are in a state of fear, the only doors that unlock are the ones labeled with themes of struggle, danger, and limitation. Inside those rooms, the 4D probabilities consist of obstacles, setbacks, and situations that reinforce your fears. You might find financial hardship, betrayal, or repeated failures, all variations of the same low vibrational theme. On the other hand, if you are in a state of confidence and gratitude, the doors that unlock have themes of opportunity, synchronicity, and success. Inside those rooms, the 4D possibilities include meeting the right people, finding unexpected solutions, and experiencing effortless progress. The experiences inside match the frequency of the door you chose to walk through. Each emotional state gives access to a different category of experiences. The higher your vibration, the more doors unlock, and the better the selection of experiences inside each room. If you want to change your reality, the key isn't just trying to force different outcomes in the 3D world. It's about choosing a different door by shifting your 5D emotional state. Again, the 4D quantum field isn't just some abstract concept. It's something we interact with all the time, even if we don't realize it. This is the plane where ideas, thoughts, probabilities, and where all possible futures already exist in potential form, waiting to be rendered into reality. Ever been stuck on a problem for hours, maybe even days, and then suddenly, while you're in the shower or lying in bed, the perfect solution just pops into your head? That's not random. That's you tapping into 4D. Your mind was stuck in a loop, unable to force the answer in 3D, so it let go, and the moment you relaxed, your consciousness naturally reached into the probability field and pulled in the missing piece. And it's not just individuals who experience this. Have you ever noticed how multiple people in different places sometimes come up with the exact same idea without ever meeting? Like inventors discovering the same breakthrough around the same time, or comedians creating identical jokes despite having no connection. That's because ideas don't belong to anyone. They exist in 4D, available to be accessed by anyone tuned into the right frequency. When a certain thought or innovation is strong enough in the collective consciousness, it starts surfacing in multiple minds at once. This is also why visionaries, psychics, and highly intuitive people can sometimes sense their own or others' possible futures. They're not seeing a fixed destiny. They're tapping into the 4D quantum field where multiple outcomes exist at once. What they see is just one of many possible routes waiting to be chosen and rendered into 3D. Third plane, the physical world. This is the world we interact with. This is the layer where everything takes form, where time feels real, and where we play out our experiences. This physical world isn't the starting point of reality. It's the final output. Everything that happens here is first cued from the 5D and 4D planes, before being rendered into the 3D realm. This is where quantum physics gives us a glimpse into how reality truly operates. Scientists have long struggled with the observer effect, the bizarre phenomenon where particles behave differently depending on whether they are being observed. At the quantum level, reality doesn't take a fixed form until consciousness interacts with it. Think about that for a second. Matter itself doesn't solidify until it's being watched. This aligns perfectly with the idea that the 3D world is simply the final rendering of what's cued in the 5D emotional field and the 4D probability field. The observer isn't just a passive viewer. Consciousness actively collapses possibilities into physical form. This explains why reality isn't static but fluid and responsive. Your focus, emotions, and intentions influence which version of reality stabilizes around you. The stronger your intent, the more likely a specific probability will materialize. This is why belief, expectation, and emotional energy shape experiences. It's not just a psychological trick, it's how the system itself operates. Modern physics tells us that everything exists in a state of superposition, meaning multiple possibilities exist at once, waiting for observation to force a choice. In this way, reality is constantly being rendered in real time, shaped by the consciousness interacting with it. You don't just experience reality, you help create it. Think of the 5D emotional field like an AI prompt. Your emotions, intentions, and vibrational state act as the input. The 4D probability field then takes that input and generates the pathways to bring it into reality, filling in the missing details based on the logic of cause and effect. Once the probabilities align, it gets processed and materializes in 3D. Sometimes you might have a clear idea of all the possible routes something could take to manifest. That helps your 5D prompt become more refined. Other times you may only have a vague intention, and the 4D field will fill in the blanks, rendering the best possible route based on your overall energy and circumstances. That's why people who master their emotions and focus their intentions correctly can literally shift their reality. Reality operates like an advanced AI system that responds to conscious prompts. It's not magic, and it's not random. It's how reality dynamically generates outcomes based on intent and vibration. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. If reality operates like an AI rendering system, then how was existence itself created? It all started with the original prompt, God's AI prompt for reality. Create a magnificent world for me to explore and enjoy. Ensure that it is self-sustaining, ever-evolving, and incapable of self-destruction. Generate an environment that balances all forces where life can emerge, adapt, and thrive. I want to experience everything, from civilizations with no technology to hyper-advanced societies. Fill it with wonders, mysteries, challenges, and history, ensuring that discovery never ends. Fueled by the 5D emotions of excitement and curiosity, and guided by the infinite possibilities within the 4D quantum field, the system generated and refined every potential configuration, seamlessly filling in the missing details to align with the intended experience. The result? Forces of physics stabilized, galaxies materialized, and celestial bodies formed. Stars ignited, and in the midst of infinite probabilities, a singular harmony emerged, the Goldilocks zone, a celestial masterpiece, calibrated with perfection, where intelligence would awaken and explore its own existence. This was not just a random spot in the vast emptiness of space, but a finely tuned environment, rich with diversity, landscapes, and ecosystems, designed for experience, exploration, and growth. Our planet orbits at the exact distance needed to avoid freezing like Neptune or burning like Venus. The sun provides just enough warmth without destroying the fragile balance of life. The Earth's tilt ensures seasons, preventing stagnation. The atmosphere shields us from cosmic radiation while allowing just enough energy to sustain ecosystems. Even the moon, which stabilizes the planet's axial tilt and affects ocean tides, plays an essential role in maintaining balance. Some call this a coincidence, a statistical anomaly in the vastness of the universe. But in a system that operates on intention and rendering, this positioning isn't random. It's aligned with the consciousness experiencing it. The planet wasn't just placed in a habitable zone. It was fine-tuned to match the needs of the sentient beings meant to explore it. The rendering engine also processed time, not as an absolute force, but as a stabilizing framework that allows experiences to unfold sequentially. The placement of every era, civilization, technological breakthrough, landmark, written history, and artifact was generated, ensuring that the timeline itself became part of the unfolding experience. Even your own existence wasn't random. The system placed you in the perfect timeline, aligning your experience with the most exciting events in history, ensuring that the opportunities, challenges, discoveries, and even the remnants of past civilizations around you best match your consciousness. Think about it. Never before in history could someone pull a device from their pocket and instantly witness world events. At any moment, you can watch history unfold in real time, experience different cultures, step into another person's perspective, or access knowledge that once took lifetimes to accumulate. What a time to be alive! The system also gave you one of its greatest gifts, empathy, allowing you to experience what others go through without actually having to live it yourself. Let's dive deeper into the mechanics of reality. One part of the original prompt stated, "Generate an environment that balances all forces." Balance is an intrinsic part of the system. Nothing exists in complete isolation. Everything has an opposite, a counterpart, or a force that maintains equilibrium. This isn't just philosophy. It's the fundamental way reality operates. Look around, and you'll notice patterns of near-perfect balance everywhere. The most obvious: the near 50-50 split between male and female across most species. If reality were purely random, we'd expect huge variations, yet the system consistently regulates itself to maintain equilibrium. It's as if existence understands that for life to continue, for experience to remain dynamic, balance must be preserved. But this principle doesn't stop at biology. It extends to human thought, behavior, and even how people navigate existence. Roughly half of all people naturally think for themselves, question reality, and seek deeper understanding. The other half prefers structure, certainty, and being told what to believe. Neither is inherently superior. Both are necessary to maintain societal balance. If everyone was a free thinker, civilization would be chaotic with no cohesion. If everyone blindly followed, progress would stall, and evolution would stop. The system keeps this duality in check to ensure that growth and stability exist together. Balance is not a coincidence. It's the core principle of reality. Every force has its counterforce. Optimism and pessimism, risk and caution, progress and resistance. Societies always divide into opposing forces, preventing extremes from dominating. Whenever something new emerges, its opposite inevitably follows. Technology advances, but it can be used for creation or destruction. Power rises, but revolution always waits in its shadow. This duality isn't a flaw. It's what makes reality dynamic. Without struggle, joy would be meaningless. Without loss, we wouldn't value what we have. Growth only happens through challenge. The system ensures that for every peak, there's a valley, for every expansion, a contraction. The mistake people make is resisting this balance. Chasing endless pleasure, infinite success, or constant stability without realizing that contrast is what gives these things meaning. The system self-corrects. Those who take too much eventually lose. Those who give endlessly without boundaries burn out. Every action invites its counteraction. Understanding this means flowing with the system rather than fighting it. Instead of fearing loss, You recognize it as part of the cycle. Instead of clinging to control, you learn to move with reality's natural rhythm. Everything, the highs and lows, the struggles and breakthroughs, exists in harmony. Now let's come back to our reality. If existence was generated from a prompt, how does it explain the world we live in? How does it explain the rapid evolution of life, intelligence, and technology? Imagine you're using an AI image generator. You, consciousness in the 6D, write the prompt using the emotions and intentions of the 5D, combined with the quantum field of possibilities in the 4D. Just like with AI, the quality of your prompt determines the output. Think about your phone for a second. I mean, really think about it. Consider just how complex that device truly is. It's not that far off from creating a human eyeball in terms of intricacy and function. If reality were purely linear, the smartphone should have taken over a century to develop. Yet within just a few decades, we went from bulky landlines to sleek supercomputers in our pockets. Why? Because the collective consciousness wrote a reality prompt. Someone, or multiple people, imagined, create a small phone-like device that allows me to do everything, squeeze my computer, camera, iPod, phone, and TV into something that fits in my pocket. That intent entered the 4D quantum field, and reality began shifting to fulfill the request. But for this device to manifest as quickly as it did, an unimaginable number of factors had to align perfectly across time, space, and human innovation. First, the materials had to exist. Metals, silicon, rare earth elements had to be accessible at the exact right time. Mining had to advance. Lithium and cobalt had to become essential. And electricity had to be harnessed long before mobile devices were even imagined. Communication networks had to evolve in perfect sequence. From telegraphs to landlines, satellites and wireless signals. Every infrastructure leap, from fiber optics to 5G, had to unfold at just the right moment. Meanwhile, software had to catch up. Operating systems, touchscreens, apps, and programming languages had to be invented from nothing. Even global economics played a role. Demand for mobile communication had to rise, corporations had to invest, and factories capable of mass-producing microchips had to emerge. The right minds had to be born at the right time, inspired by the right ideas, exposed to the right environments, and positioned in the right industries. Without visionaries like Steve Jobs or engineers developing touchscreen technology, smartphones may have taken another century to emerge. If even one of these factors had been out of sync, if the microchip hadn't been invented, if battery technology had stalled, if wireless networks hadn't expanded fast enough, smartphones wouldn't exist as they do today. But because the intent to create them entered the system, the 4D quantum field worked through infinite possibilities, aligning reality to make it happen. Thinking all of that happened by coincidence is like winning the lottery 5 times in a row and assuming it was just luck. The odds of every necessary discovery, technological breakthrough, and global infrastructure aligning perfectly within a few short decades are so astronomically low that calling it random defies logic. The answer is clear in this system. The collective consciousness, 6D, placed its focus on rapid communication, and the 5D emotional field strengthened that intention. Once that happened, the 4D probability field worked out all the pathways to make it happen, and the 3D world rendered the best possible routes. This is why some advancements seem to materialize out of nowhere. This same principle explains the miracles people experience in their daily lives. The chance encounters, the perfect timing, the way certain events align so precisely that they feel scripted. How many people exist because their parents happened to meet due to a car breaking down, a missed flight, or a last-minute decision? How often do we find ourselves crossing paths with the right person at exactly the right time, as if it were prearranged? These moments aren't just coincidences. They are the system adjusting probabilities to match the energy and intent of the consciousness involved. The more you pay attention, the more obvious it becomes. Reality isn't random, it's responsive. And that's the beauty of it. You are not just a passive observer in this reality. You are an active participant, shaping the world around you with your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. The system isn't working against you, it's responding to you. Every challenge, every breakthrough, every so-called coincidence is part of a larger design. One that is guiding you toward experiences that align with your consciousness. This means that your life is not meaningless. You are here, in this exact moment, in this exact timeline, for a reason. Every struggle you've faced, every moment of doubt, every time you thought things weren't going your way, it was all leading you somewhere. You have more control than you think. By understanding how reality works, you can start moving with the system instead of fighting against it. The best part? You're not alone in this. Every person you meet, every connection you make, is another part of the system unfolding, bringing the right people into your life, guiding you toward the lessons you need, and giving you the tools to shape your own reality. So, if you've ever felt lost, if you've ever questioned why you're here, know that you are exactly where you're meant to be. This isn't just blind optimism, it's how the system is designed. Your intentions matter. Your energy matters. You are a creator within the creation. And now that you see the bigger picture, the only question left is, what will you create next?